So there are two exotics in Destiny which, when paired together, have insane synergy. I am talking about the Hunter exotic Mask of Bacchus and the exotic sword Ergo Sum. Don't believe me? Watch this. That is my new main build in action. You dodge, you sword, you repeat. That is what this build is all about, and it's surprisingly really fun and really good at ad clear, and it also does a pretty decent job at boss damage in general activities as well. To understand why we're using Ergo Sum, we must first dive into Mask of Bacchus, which does the following. When you have a Stasis or Arc Super equipped, dodging will allow you to travel further and grants you a 10-second damage boost called Light Shift, which can stack up to 3 times for a total of 33% extra damage. Final blows while Light Shift is active refund class ability energy. For reference, if you have 50 class stat, you only need 2 final blows. Now, as this exotic increases the damage of our Stasis and Arc weapons, we obviously need either a Stasis weapon or an Arc weapon. In the current sandbox, primary weapons are primary weapons, and most special weapons don't have the best ammo economy. That is, with the exception of one weapon, Ergo Sum, the destination exotic tied to the Pale Heart from the Final Shape DLC. This exotic is really unique, as it is one of the few exotics that have random rolls. Ergo Sum can roll as one of 5 sword frames, as well as roll with one of 5 perks which are taken from existing exotics, and the perk determines the element of the sword. The perk we are interested in is Arc Conductor, which makes the sword arc, and the perk belongs to Risk Runner. Powered heavy attacks charge the wielder, enabling them to resist arc damage and chain lightning to nearby targets. This chain lightning counts as weapon damage, so it benefits from Mask of Bacchus, allowing us to easily chain kills and dodges back to back. You'll want to use the Waveframe version of Ergo Sum as it's the most suitable for ad clear. Now, the catalyst for Ergo Sum is what enables the sword's amazing ammo economy. The catalyst grants ammo when you deal damage with a Transcendence grenade, which is the multi-element grenade you get during Transcendence. The benefits don't stop there though. At base, so no matter if you have the catalyst or not, Ergo Sum hits grant 2.5% Transcendence energy to both bars, and when Transcendence is active, Ergo Sum gets a bigger damage bonus, 44% instead of 5%, with Arc Conductor's Chain Lightning getting 20%. Hits also increase the charge rate of your grenade while in Transcendence. Ergo Sum was quite literally made for Prismatic, and in truth, it was made for Mask of Bacchus too. Not literally, but they have great synergy together. Since we're on the topic of Prismatic, we might as well talk about our subclass setup, starting with our aspects. Those aspects are Threaded Spectre and Winter's Shroud. When we dodge, we'll create a Strand clone through Threaded Spectre, which will take the aggro of enemies, and at the same time, we'll create a slowing stasis burst through Winter's Shroud. Most of the time, you'll be able to dodge again within a few seconds thanks to Ergo Sum and Mask of Bacchus, which means not only will you have multiple Strand clones on the field, but you'll be freezing enemies left and right. Looking at our other abilities, we'll take the Dust Field Grenade for some more slowing and freezing, and our melee will be Combination Blow. Except we won't be using Combination Blow because we'll have our Ergo Sum equipped nearly all the time. The reason we want it though is because when you have an arc ability equipped, it allows you to become amplified upon rapid arc final blows. Amplified makes enemies less accurate, and it provides a 15% damage resist. Our super will be Silence and School, and that's not because it's a really good ad clear super, which it is, but because we'll be running the Fragment Facet of Purpose. So picking up an Orb of Power will grant us Frost Armor, which can stack up to 5 times, for a total of 31.25% damage resist, so that's 2 sources of damage resistance. The other aspects are Facet of Awakening, so rapid final blows with Ergo Sum will create Ionic Traces, which will give us ability energy, Facet of Protection, so we have some extra damage resistance while nearby enemies, Facet of Hope, so when we have an elemental buff, our class ability will recharge quicker, and then Facet of Ruin, so the range and damage while shattering frozen targets is increased. Now, I won't really be talking about the armor mod selection, as you'll be able to see them on the Mobilitics page and of course the dim link, but they're on the screen right now if you want to take a peek. What I will say is, because we really aren't going to be using our melee, we can go all in on our grenade. So our arm has double grenade kickstarts, and we're running Reaper and Powerful Attraction on our class item, plus Arc Siphon on our helm, so we can generate as many orbs of power as possible. For your armor perk bonuses, the 2 perk Swordmaster set can be really good, as sword hits will apply exhaust to enemies, which lowers their damage output. Of course, 2-piece Potent and Smoke Jumper are always good, because more damage resistance means more survivability and more carnage. This build does hold up without any armor perk bonuses though, so you really can't go wrong with your selection. You have a lot of leeway with your stats on this build as well, as you only need 50 in the class stat, and we don't need to worry about a melee stat at all. I would advise going 70 in your grenade stat, and then 100 super as always, and then as much into your weapon stat as possible. I would not recommend going above 100 in your class stat, because even though we'll be doing a lot of dodging, and going above 100 means you'll gain an overshield, the amount of overshield you get is really nothing, and your stats are better off somewhere else. Quickly going over the artifact mods, since we're using Ergo Sum, we can take advantage of Combination Argent Blade and Sword Storm combo to increase the overall damage we deal. Ergo Sum is of course an arc weapon as well, so we can use elemental orbs to create arc orbs which can be thrown to jolt enemies. For your other 2 weapon slots, I would suggest a Stasis weapon so it can benefit from Mask of Bacchus. For your power weapon, I run a Waveframe sword with Sharp Harvest, so rapid hits will generate special ammo for Ergo Sum, but you could run a typical damage weapon instead. All that really matters though is you have Ergo Sum with the Catalyst, because that is the heart of the build. And that is the build in its entirety. This really does feel like a very hunter type of build. Hunters are quick and agile, and this build really focuses on that with being able to dodge back to back. Hopefully you find this build good, and if you've got any thoughts, drop them in the comments and maybe subscribe or like the video if you enjoyed it. As always, thank you for watching, have a great day.